meteorologist James Zahara here. With me, of course, is Peter Warner, our weather anchor for the weekend. And what we are going to be talking about is a little bit about the potential for seeing some severe weather for parts of the area as we go through the afternoon and also the early evening. But there could be a possibility even as we head into tonight as well. So let's go right into it, Peter, as far as the severe thunderstorm watch that only covers just a few of our counties.
Yeah, just really 3 of our counties. We have Whiteside, Bureau, and Henry, as you can see over there. Stark County is included as well. I know we have some viewers and fans out there, but the real threat here with this is going to be the wind gusts, right? Because we have this cool pooling up aloft. So as we get those downdrafts, we're looking at some wind gusts up to maybe 70 miles per hour here with this. And the Storm Prediction Center also talked about a couple isolated tornadoes, maybe 1 or 2 of those, but something else to keep an eye on is these storms. They're not going to be moving too fast that we're kind of seeing right now, so maybe some heavy rainfall potential.
Correct. I mean, as far as the steering winds are concerned, they're very light on nature, so yeah, we could get some nice rainfall out of this. But what's interesting about this severe thunderstorm watch is it's kind of all taking part with that one wave that has been noted more north and east of the Quad Cities, and they're kind of anticipating any type of tailing that may go on into Whiteside, like you said, Henry, Bureau County, even around Putnam County as well. So let's go ahead and bring up the radar itself, and we can show you where the broken line of showers and thunderstorms are going on off to our north and east. No question, I think this is going to have an impact for areas near the Chicagoland area. But you can see that the activity that we're seeing right now is pretty much from near Milwaukee itself and then south and west just outside of the Rockford area. Now, this could potentially mean that the focus of this wave with that watch that we have in place may be focused in areas just north of the Chicagoland area. Things are relatively quiet around here, but we have to keep in mind we do have some old boundaries from early morning storms that took place in parts of northeastern and north central Iowa that could help spawn some more active showers and thunderstorms. However, that may not be part of the current watch that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, the timing on it's a little bit delayed. Actually, I'm going to pull up visible satellite here, and you can kind of see that little line almost, you could say, out kind of near Waterloo, that little burst of cloud cover. That's kind of what's remaining from those thunderstorms earlier, kind of Waterloo out towards Indianola. This is the visible satellite right now. So we're looking at just the cloud cover, but that's kind of a good idea to visualize what's left of that outflow boundary. We also have the one again that we're seeing with those storms near Milwaukee. But
if we can actually pop up both of us here on the Plex here, what we're really focusing on here, with the visible satellite, like you mentioned about that, this is a nice little wave of some activity that we're seeing just around south and east of Des Moines itself. So we'll see how this goes. And this might be starting to grow only because of those outflow boundaries that we had earlier on. And then that can stretch its way often toward the parts of Waterloo. So we'll see how this turns out. And as you showed you on the graphic, there's a front still off to our west that still needs to make its way through here. And once that does, yes, we may be dealing with humidity going into tomorrow, but we start seeing a big change in those temperatures.
Well, that's going to be the best part. That's the exciting part of the forecast. We got to get through today, though, first. That's right,
because the air ahead of that front is very buoyant. So any of these storms that do happen to pop up, especially as we get to the late afternoon and going into the evening hours as well, those can produce some very heavy rain in a very short period of time. The question will be, will those storms, those scatter storms that we're looking at going into the early evening, will they become severe? So that's going to be the million-dollar question, because we're concerned about any convective energy that may be less available, maybe. But we're not seeing much out there, given the storm energy that we're seeing to our north and west especially.
Yeah, it's cooling off. I mean, that's kind of that line that we were talking about. I'd say right here, kind of near Maquoketa, you can see a lot. Kind of behind it is a lot lower, and that's going to be interesting. Further to the south, though, I mean, and here locally right now, we have plenty.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's so buoyant. I mean, all you need is a good little trigger to set off some of that activity. And we still believe that may be taking place, especially along the I-80 corridor, maybe a little bit more south, because keep in mind, there's a lot of cloud cover that we're noticing up here. So with that visible satellite that we just showed you, this is the area that we may have to keep an eye on for these little broken little clusters of showers and thunderstorms that may be taking place. I think we can actually throw up the future track
Yeah,
and
we can
see
pull
if
up
we
a
can
future
give
track.
everyone a good idea and explain about the models that you and I have been looking at just before we went on the air.
Yeah, so we have two models we look at, right? And there's the HER, which is the rapid refresh model made
Right.
by the National Weather Service, and our in-house model. They both have a short-term resolution one, so we get an update every hour taking in the latest data that we're seeing. And this is actually going to be the HER, or the rapid refresh model, and it's going to show a little bit of convection, I'd say right around, 3 or 4 o'clock is what we were looking at here. So we can
Right.
put our future track into motion. There it is starting right around 3:15 p.m. And there is a little bit of some moisture in the air out near Maquoketa. I was looking at the upper levels. There's some good moisture for that to build off of right around then.
Oh, sure. I mean, there's a lot of really cold air aloft. I mean, from these past couple of days, we've been noticing some very isolated activity. But when you see those storms, those anvils, right there, you're talking about temperatures like maybe 20, 30 below zero. So you're going to get some really nice growth out of some of these storms, as long as there's a decent trigger nearby to set some of this activity off. Now, of course, with the HER model that we have here, it's an hour-by-hour update that we get from the HER here. And it shows that some activity may be popping up just along and north of I-80. But this is around 4:15, so let's kind of put this into motion even more.
Yep. And we're keeping it slow, too, so you can kind of see what
Yeah.
you're looking at time-wise for your hometown. As we get to 5 to 5:45, I mean, you can see it's popping off, but especially further out to the west, which is interesting, because that's not where we're seeing that watch.
Right, and there is a possibility. I know the Storm Prediction Center is probably keeping a really close watch on this area. Maybe for an additional watch, there could be a possibility, but what we may be dealing with here, and it all depends on the dynamics that will be taking place during the late afternoon and early evening, as this may be more of a heavy rain event than anything. And it certainly is indicative of what we're seeing here. Keep in mind, this is not etched in stone.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's two models, and they're going to show a little different.
They're going to be a little bit different, exactly, and that's why it's important to kind of keep an eye on it, and as well as the visible satellite as well, because from the visible satellite we can always see that growth in those clouds in an area that we would be eventually be focusing on too. So this is around 5:45. How far can we go with the HER here?
Yeah, we can go all the way through 10 p.m. midnight.
Let's see what we looks like here. I mean, everything right now from this model alone, this is 7 p.m., and it kind of shows all the activity primarily north of I-80, but things really start popping in areas right around the Chicagoland area.
Yep, and that's what we're seeing that watch too. Again, we're kind of on the fringe of that as well. I know it's through 6 p.m., but
Right.
the
So
HER is
there could be, like I said, yeah, there could be another watch if that does have the potential to produce being severe. There could be an additional watch there, but I think it all depends on the activity that's coming through now in areas around southeastern Wisconsin near Milwaukee and just north of the Chicagoland area. So we'll see how that all turns out. Then we get to about 10 o'clock, and nothing that really pops up except for the fact that, we can't rule out a brief downpour that may be taking place.
looks really, I mean, not too much, I guess you could say, in terms of severity too. You're not seeing those little supercell clusters that we could be seeing, at least here in the viewing area.
We don't see a big line that may be popping up. And about midnight or so is when the front will be actually right in our viewing area alone. So without much convective energy to work with, I wouldn't say it would be a quiet front, but it's certainly a focus for that activity to extend even around the midnight hours or so. So that's the HER model. Now we're going to go to our trusty house model.
We love our house model.
We always love our house model here. It's been really consistent for really most of the season.
And I will say it nailed that system we were seeing earlier on GMQC at 11. We were talking about that little cluster that made through, and it's doing really well with that kind of. It's a little bit delayed on the time.
Right, a little bit delayed, a little slow, because we already have seen some of that stuff taking place as we speak, given the time right now about 2:15 or so. So maybe a couple of hours early. On that, or I should say late on that. So this is around 4:15. So watch what we see out to the west of us.
And also what I find interesting, if you look at the wind speeds you're seeing, you can kind of see a little mini boundary, might be a trough here.
That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Picking up on.
From that air coming down from those storms, you can actually see little boundaries right here. Maybe hard to see on your side, but we actually have a little boundary right there, and there's some others that are located off to the west as well. So yeah, those are the ones. They're not like fronts, but they're enough to produce enough lift, enough of a trigger to blossom some additional showers and thunderstorms as well.
It's pretty much just rain-cooled air. right? That's coming
Right.
from these thunderstorms.
And these winds are very light as well. I mean, these winds are very light where we are, but you go farther south, there's a little bit more wind to work with, and thus those storms, if any do pop up, will move a little bit faster. So this is around 5 p.m. We go close to 6 p.m. and you can see, yeah, little clusters of these showers and storms that are popping up. Even one even farther west as you go, just west of near Des Moines, I would say, well west of the Iowa City area. So that's around 6:30. And this is just going to continue on if it does hold true with these little clusters that'll be popping up. And some good color there, indicating the potential there for some very heavy rain that could be taking place with one or two of these storms.
Yeah, and what's interesting too, and this is our house model picking up on as well, this first wave, you notice that about 2 hours before our future track, if I can pull that back a little bit, you notice at least for this watch, as we get near that 6 o'clock time frame, still primarily staying out to our east as well. We have this cluster to focus on, but really not too much there when it comes to this first watch.
Yeah, and really, I would not be surprised if at least the Storm Prediction Center, they're the ones that do issue the watches that go on around the area. I wouldn't be surprised if they would be just concentrating once again on our area going into the evening hours.
I agree.
So I wouldn't be surprised about that. Now the question is, will they throw out another watch? If the conditions are right, that could be, but well, that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. And of course, we'll continue to update you on that for the rest of the afternoon. We should get a new, fresh model run, our house model, before the current begins, which is around 4 o'clock this afternoon. And of course, the 5 and the 6. By the time I think we get to the 10 o'clock show, there may be some activity around, but I think our focus is going to be just as we get to the around the peak heating of the day. Late afternoon, early evening, that's where things, the picture becomes much more clear.
Much clearer, yeah. And the 18Z, or the model run that comes out around that 3 o'clock time, will have a lot more data than the house model right here. That's just the rapidly hour one.
Right.
So that'll maybe be a little bit, not more accurate per se, but have more variables that play in.
Correct, absolutely, absolutely. We always like our house model because, we cheer for our house model because it's been, overall, it's been really consistent this season. So we just can't help but not ignore this. We have seen these situations where, the air is so buoyant that you can't rule out some very heavy rain in some areas. Now, of course, this doesn't look very widespread. It's very scattered. So there could be some hometowns out there that may not even get a drop at all going to late afternoon and early evening.
Especially
so
further to the south, too. That's what I've noticed here. It's like our southwest hometowns, Henry County, Iowa, Burlington area, even into Muscatine, they're getting a little bit less. Most of the thunderstorm activity or the heavier rainfall north and further east as well.
Correct. So we'll have to see how that all transpires. I mean, like we said on the visible satellite picture, let's go right back to that visible satellite. Because like we said, this is going to be the small clusters that may take place all the way until maybe before midnight, and then things begin to pop up. So what we're keeping an eye on here is this line that we see just south and east, looks like just near the border, Iowa-Missouri border, and points north. We'll keep an eye on this. We've got a lot of stratus that we see right here. Not sure if much is really popping up in this area, but we'll keep an eye on it because any downdraft could produce just enough of a growth in the clouds. So we'll see how that all turns out. Then farther west, it looks pretty quiet. So this is the area that we'll have to focus on. Some nice bubbling going on with those storms that we see, or these clouds that we see just north and west of the Waterloo area.
And I will say the National Weather Service office in Des Moines, which covers central Iowa right now, I was checking in with them too to see what they're looking for development. In that little cluster, this is actually, they're seeing some towering with those clouds. Not to say these lighter ones in the back, but these cumulus ones are starting to tower over.
Yeah.
They're watching that too.
So that's why, even though our models were showing like right around the I-80 corridor and maybe northward, you can't rule out some of this stuff that we see here. So, visible satellites are good. It's like, being up in space, looking down, taking a picture of it. This is what you actually get. So this gives us a more clarity on the growth of these clouds that we see right here. So we'll see how that all transpires in late afternoon and early evening. Right now, we still have that severe thunderstorm watch out. Nothing really really going on in our 3 counties that are
Yes.
part of this watch that goes until around 6 p.m. for Whiteside, Henry, even around Bureau County as well. So that's until 6 p.m. But as we've been noticing, not much activity going on within those counties. Some still nice growth going on. We're starting to see some signs of that on areas off to the east. So we'll see how that all plays out going into the next few hours or so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but I will say when I was looking at the water vapor there aloft,
Yes.
it's a little bit lighter than further out to the east.
Oh, okay, very good.
There's some water vapor there. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
enough to maybe fire up. All we need is just that little weak disturbance to get them going.
Yeah, it's all it is little triggers. So, and around this time of year, it doesn't take much.
No, it
Let's put
doesn't.
it that way. And keep in mind, the winds being light, you can get some pretty good rain out of this as well. But like we said, the air is very buoyant. We just have to get through really today as far as when it comes to the heat. The humidity I've been noticing for, I lost count, a number of days. We'll have to deal with the humidity for one more day going into tomorrow. And then we start feeling that very refreshing air for the rest of the week, going into the weekend. I mean, it's looking stellar.
It's perfect.
Going into the weekend, especially starting on Sunday and in the days to follow that. Many of our hometowns will likely not even get out of the 70s.
Which is going to be great.
Fantastic.
And we got the first Score Friday.
Coming up
Not this
week
Friday,
after
but
that.
the week after, and it's
Yeah.
still trending in the right direction.
Yeah,
there.
so far so good.
Very exciting.
Just curious. It's a trend, so we'll see how
Yes.
all that turns out. I wonder if we got any questions or
Yeah.
comments from people. We really appreciate everyone being here, just giving you an update. Everything's all quiet right now across our area, but we appreciate you hanging out here on the News 8 Plus app as far as understanding some of the coverage and that we are seeing now and what we could potentially see as we make our way in the early evening.
Yeah, our good friend Troy was wondering about Middletown. Will they get any severe weather today?
That's something we'll have to kind of keep an eye on. There is that possibility. But I think what we may be looking at could be more of a heavy rain event than anything. So we'll see how that all turns out.
Yeah, Michelle, our good friend from Rock Falls area, she's always there on us.
Yes, she.
We know her very well. Is there any tornado chances for Rock Falls or just winds and hail? There's a very isolated threat, I would say, for tornadoes.
Oh, sure. I think the conditions are there. I think, though, given the counties that we just mentioned, I think the concern is with some of these discrete cells that are trying to pop up, could they actually become, grow fast enough that we could actually see some activity? Right there, there's not too much going on. There could be maybe a little bit of some warm air aloft, maybe a little bit of inversion that we're not seeing too much of a quick, rapid pace on the cloud growth itself. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. But at least for now, Michelle, everything is looking pretty quiet around the Sterling Rock Falls area. So we'll see how that all transpires. But you can tell, where the air is fairly is bubbling compared to, let's say, farther west as you go. It looks really quiet around here. But like we mentioned about the watch from Henry County, Illinois, and points eastward, things do bubble up nicely. So you guys are on the very tail end of some of this activity that could pop up, but I think the focus may be going on even more farther east as you go. So we'll see how that turns out.
I mean, and we could look at radar right now, just as James was saying. That's where we're seeing the bubbling just outside the viewing area, now towards the Chicagoland, too.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I guess live radar, a great way to prove it. Not that we needed to prove it. We always know, James knows.
Well, we always like to check out, when we see the visible satellite and we see some of the popcorn cells that are beginning to pop up, or at least when it comes to this cloud growth, you got to see maybe there's some, moisture falling in it. And certainly if that's the case south of Rockford, right near Rochelle, a nice little band. But thunderstorms right now, mainly along the Illinois-Wisconsin border, just west of Waukegan, as you can see there, and even around the Milwaukee area now seeing some active showers and thunderstorms. But for now, things are relatively quiet. Like we said, we're going to keep an eye on this activity right here and see if that begins to balloon its way from west to east as we go through the next few hours or so.
Yeah. Let's see. Riley. Hello, Riley, as well. She's just saying hello. I thought it was a question. There we go.
We appreciate it.
So we were wondering about Rock Island County. What are we thinking here for the metro?
Well, I think just kind of what we've been seeing for everyone else that is in our viewing area, it's really kind of a wait and see. We have to, given the fact that we have been noticing a little bit more growth off to the west, we'll see how things kind of transpire going in the next couple of hours or so. But certainly any storms that do happen to pop up right now, they appear to be scattered. Little small clusters are going to be popping up. It's kind of what we've been seeing for the past couple of days. Very isolated in nature. The big concern is going to be some heavy rain. You got to think about all that rain-loaded moisture in these clouds that are going to come down and produce maybe a good wind. With that as well. We had that in areas late last night, in areas off to our north and west, had some pretty good wind gusts there. Fortunately, the storms kind of really fell apart once they started crossing the river itself. Still, little rumbles of thunder in the distance, still woke up my dogs. They didn't like it one bit.
Really?
Did not like it one bit. So I had to be with them till like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Did you get the Elton John going, right? That's the
I was too tired to do the Elton John music. Elton John is usually a soothing music for our dogs, and 9 out of 10 times it works. And the British Baking Show too. So I'll put that in.
That's a great one.
Just helpful hints in case you every medication's not working out. Try that music and see what happens. So yeah.
Yeah. So our friend Kenneth was wondering about Galesburg, and I think this is kind of going to be the story for everyone, right?
Yeah, I think.
Chances, heavy rainfall.
Yes, right. And once again, it's the wait and see. So if you're watching us here from Maquoketa all the way through the Quad Cities, Galesburg, Burlington, I would say it's just see what happens going in the next couple of hours or so. But right now, there is no severe weather taking place. We did see some pretty good storms about a couple of hours ago, an hour or so ago, I should say, off to our north and east. Those have now made their way out of our viewing area. So that is some good news. So I think once we start building in the peak heating of our day here, from now all the way to about 4 or 5, then we're going to get a clear picture. But no question, the atmosphere is certainly ripe to produce more of these small clusters of some drenching showers and thunderstorms. So where they pop up, it's a hard thing because we don't have a front in the viewing area itself to focus on. We're dealing with these little outflow boundaries. The outflow boundaries are simply air that came down from early morning storms, old storms that took place off to our north and to our west. So those are little triggers here and there that could set off some of the activity, but that's all we have to work with. So sometimes these old boundaries kind of meander and then eventually will pop up, but they're very challenging to find. All we know is that the main front is still off to our west, and we believe somewhere within this area, we're gonna start seeing some of this stuff begin to pop up. Scattered in nature, who will be impacted, who will not? That's the million-dollar question that we have right now.
I mean, that's kind of the pattern, too, that we've been dealing with, right? It's the models there give you a good idea of timing, you could say, but placement, it's where do these clouds bubble?
That's right.
It's this time of year. We get these always in summer. It's summer forecasting. Models, they can give you a good idea of timing, but exact placement is something that's harder.
Because we have no fronts nearby. You have a nice big front coming on through, whether it may be a cold front or even a warm front, then you get a good idea of where the better dynamics are going to be taking place. In fact, all the activity that's going on off to our north and east, that's actually part of a warm front. Okay, of a weather system that is located off to our north and west. There's a warm front, and when you get some good lift like that, no question, you're going to expect to see some pretty active weather from that cell. Wasn't much before, but once it did interact with that front, things started really blossoming. And there's that cold front that's still located well off to the west, but here's this little boundary that we're seeing right here. That's an old boundary from storms that took place in the morning hours in areas around north central Iowa. So those are the storms that we have to keep an eye on as we make our way in the early evening hours. But yeah, otherwise, it's more of a wait and see, but we believe this is going to be the area to watch as we head into the next few hours.
Yeah, well, let's get one more question from our good friend Billy, then we got to make sure we...
Billy's a big weather nerd. I mean,
Billy's the best.
And that's a compliment, okay, Billy? All right. What does Bill have to say?
Billy's wondering just about our severe threats for Clinton and Jackson counties further to the north.
Clinton and Jackson County further to the north. And then once again, there is a possibility. I know people are like, well, possibility, that seems like a cop-out.
Right.
It really isn't. I mean, because, we don't have any major fronts nearby, but the air is certainly very buoyant enough to maybe set off maybe another severe thunderstorm watch. At least we're on that borderline of maybe seeing some severe weather around here. But no question, any storms that may not become severe, they're going to have some heavy rain.
Yes, that's
okay?
no doubt about that. I mean, we have dew points well into the 70s right now.
That well in the 70s, my goodness.
Yeah, and the potential PWATs, or it's pretty much precipitable water in the atmosphere,
Yep.
around 2 inches today.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's what we saw with some of our previous heavy rainfall events. Maybe not as high as some of them, but still 2 inches. If you get stuck under one of those training or slow-moving thunderstorms,
Right.
you're going to be seeing a whole ton.
Yeah, and that's what we're a little concerned about because of the fact those winds around our neck of the woods is they're very light. So so they move very slowly. You're going to get a good amount of rain in a very short period of time. I certainly had that last night in my hometown from the storms that made its way through parts of the Quad Cities. And that's really impressive. And this goes from now all the way until 11 p.m.
Yeah, and this is our in-house model, the rapid version or hourly version of our in-house model.
Sure.
This is model 1, and model 2 is going to be the HRRR, the HRRR, which is the other short-term or rapid refresh model we look at. This one shows it a little bit more spotty in Chicagoland, getting a whole ton, but many of us stay 1 to maybe 2 inches.
Yeah. So, but once again, it all depends on where the storms. The bottom line is, if you get underneath one of these things, you're going to get a good amount of rain.
Good, yeah, good soaking.
We just want to avoid any type of flash flooding that may be taking place, because these past couple of days there have been literally 1 or 2 counties where we've had to issue some flash flood warnings. Just recently in parts of eastern Bureau County, just south of east of Princeton, had a flash flood warning out there.
Just yesterday.
Yeah, just yesterday as well. So that's something to keep in mind if we get caught in 1 or 2 of these storms that are not moving very quickly, but just dumping a whole lot of rain. Okay, so that's what we're going to keep an eye on. So yeah, models have been pretty consistent. Potential for some heavy rain. We just want to avoid any type of the severe weather, the strong winds that could produce some brief power outages across the area. That's always a concern when you're dealing with these, rain-loaded downdrafts from these storms. And yeah, wind is very powerful.
Oh,
water is very powerful too.
Yeah, those microbursts, they're 70-mile-per-hour potential as well.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. So.
Yeah, and that's enough to cause some damage and a concern. So yeah, that's kind of what we are keeping an eye on. Any more questions before I ask you the next question here?
Yeah, I think mainly just time framing.
Time framing, yeah, and once again, that's going to be. I think here we are coming up at 2:30. We're going to be ending our coverage here in just a few minutes or so. But by the time we get to the 4 o'clock newscast, the current, we'll get some new models in, and we'll be able to kind of help even pinpoint even more so the coverage, the timing, when it comes in, or more importantly, when it leaves, and how much rain probably could potentially get.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. Once again, this is really going to be the last day of this dreadful heat and humidity. But then after tomorrow, we start seeing drop in temperatures a little bit. Still got the humidity in play, but then after that, things really begin to cool off. In fact, let's do this.
You want your 14-day or the 8?
Oh, I'm surprise me.
Surprise me. Why not throw the 14-day in there? I know, I'm already thinking about shooting football again.
Yeah, that's right.
So fun.
High school football season.
Hear the band play the national anthem.
Gives you goosebumps, doesn't it?
Oh, I know, right?
14-day tracker. This is exclusive here in our market, where we're able to show you this and kind of give you what we call a trend, okay? Nothing set in stone, but a trend. And given the information that we use, the data that we use, this comes pretty close to what we could potentially see around the area. So after tomorrow, boy, does it look quiet in our skies.
Yeah.
But what really sticks out is those temperatures.
I think that's going to be fantastic. Nice taste of fall. A little bit early, too.
Yeah, definitely, no question. I think with these temperatures, you're basically talking about some mid-September weather that may be taking place. This weekend looking really nice across the area. And then as we make our way to that following weekend, I believe we get to Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
Right around there. And that could be our next round of some showers and storms, but those are some really delightful numbers, temperatures that we see going into next week. And no, there's some people out there that considering about doing a little roofing or whatever, getting that done.
I know some farmers I've talked to, they're really waiting for a nice dry spell as well out there.
They're certainly going to get it, that's for sure. So you can definitely work out in these conditions, and it's going to be certainly a nice break from the stretch of 9-degree plus temperatures that we've been noticing. Of course, you can always check on the updated version of our 14-day tracker on our webpage at around on WQAD.com. Okay, we've got a lot of information on the webpage when it comes to information, and show off your phone. Just kind of dangle your phone here. Once again, keep this in mind. That's a great tool to have. Of course, when it comes to searching out for the Storm Track 8 app.
I was going to say Storm Track 8 app, and also on your TV, the WQAD 8 Plus app. If anything gets going tonight, this is going to be the first place to go where you guys are right now.
What's nice about the radar, and I always want to stress this out, especially when we are in severe weather coverage, is the fact that you can interact with it, okay? You can zoom in, zoom out. There's a loop of the past weather for the past few hours or so, I believe. You can go from past to future.
Oh, it's the best.
And then finally, you can go from future. So there's a lot of options that you have, especially when we are talking about that possibility of seeing some more showers and thunderstorms across the area. So a really nice tool to have.
And I think it has our in-house model on there you can toy with.
In-house model, always a good, more information the better. Guys, thank you so much for being part of us here on the News 8 Plus app, giving you the latest as far as the weather discussion is concerned and the potential for maybe seeing some active storms as well. Once again, another update coming up on the current right here on News 8.